Experimental Japanese bullet train Alpha X with top speed of 250 miles per hour. A composite image of the lunar eclipse shows clearly the Earth's shadow. This is Samantha Smith. When she was 10, she wrote a letter to the leader of the Soviet Union, Yuri Andropov, asking what he would do to avoid a nuclear war. Andropov responded to the letter and invited her to visit. This helped ease Cold War tensions and she became America's youngest ambassador. Babies left to sleep outside, strengthening the immune system. Moscow 1958. Propaganda made by the Allies during World War I of what will happen to the US if the Central Powers won. A rare photo of a big fin squid caught on camera on November 11, 2007 by a Shell Oil Company ROV at a depth of 2,386 meters, 1.5 miles. This species of squid well at extreme depths and are characterized by their long thin tentacles. They can reach almost 20 feet long when fully grown. This 100-year-old Brazilian breaks the world record for working the longest at the same company for 84 years and 9 days, as verified on the 6th of January 2022. Salvator Mundi, the most expensive painting ever sold, depicting Jesus Christ in a blue Renaissance dress, making the sign of the cross with his right hand, while holding a transparent crystal orb in his left. It was painted by Leonardo da Vinci, circa 1490 to 1510, and sold for $450.3 million in 2017. Weapons seized by the police in Durham, UK. The border between Argentina and Brazil. The dinosaur remains, found in 2011, with its seen and guts intact. This is a real skyscraper located in New York City, located at 33 Thomas Street. The architects dubbed it Project X and can withstand an atomic blast, housing enough water, food, and generator fuel for 1,500 people to survive at least 2 weeks during catastrophic nuclear fallout. Kamakavi is a 500,000 kilogram rock in Finland that has been balancing on top of another rock for 11,000 years. Franca Viola, the woman who defied the Italian tradition by refusing to marry her apaist, 1966. The largest surviving capstone of an ancient Egyptian pyramid, weighing almost 5 tons, 6 feet wide, 4.5 foot tall. A 200-year-old wisteria tree in Japan. Snapping turtle found swimming in northern Minnesota. Argentina's official map. This is George Lundin's bronze sculpture Departure. The early morning frost adds beautiful texture. The Titanic in comparison to a modern cruise ship. This sticker that won my New York County's voter design contest. I voted. Abandoned Soviet radar in the Chernobyl zone. US Army soldiers with gold bullions in Iraq, 2003. Resting Dragon Rock. Nature is awesome. A 5,000-year-old Sumerian recipe for beer. The Pontsyssult Aqueduct in Wales is the highest canal aqueduct in the world. It is 126 feet, 38 meters, above the River Dee, and was completed in 1805. Iron Mike Tyson plays Mike Tyson's Punch-Out! In a fantastic promotional photo. The border between Bulgaria and Romania. Lion of Lucerne, Switzerland. hand from a 2nd century Roman bronze sculpture. Created by Ford, this prototype is a noise-cancelling doghouse, designed to limit overly loud noises, such as fireworks, so your pooch doesn't become stressed. Erosion caused this hedgehog-shaped rock. Was given a 1934 $20 bill at work. I split some firewood today, just turned down the lights to enjoy a nice fire and realized there is bioluminescent fungi on a few pieces. How US astronauts vote on the International Space Station. I voted my entire adult life, but this year's voting booth definitely takes the cake. So thankful to everyone, especially democracy, for allowing me to remain part of this essential process this year. The real Peaky Blinders who operated in Birmingham in the early 1900s. A very cosmic caterpillar. Lunar eclipse from the moon. Dragon's Eye Cave in Upharland, England, is a secret cave whose location is said to be guarded closely by residents who live nearby. Over time, a spherical pattern appeared in the rock, which resembles a giant eye when the light catches it a certain way. The oldest preserved human body is that of Otzi, a 5,300-year-old wet mummy that was found still partially encased in glacial ice in northernmost Italy in 1991. Otzi is far older than the Egyptian and Incan mummies, or the peat bog bodies in northern Europe. This is the small mining town of Ferment. What is interesting about it is its 1,300 meters long building protecting the city from the cold Nordic winds. In this building, there is everything a city needs. I'm sure it doesn't mean much to many people, but it's still sobering to see these signs in rural Georgia. Trail of Tears to original route. Lumpsnacker, found in the freezing waters of Arctic, North Atlantic, and North Pacific. It swims at depths of 1,700 meters, 5,600 feet. Some 1910 real color photos from Imperial Russia. Medieval pilgrimage chapel of Our Lady of Lourdes in Modavidal Valley, Czech Republic. Great sign spotted in QLD. Watch your speed. Don't drive like a W. Get there safe. From the age of 3, Ruby Crane walked blinded World War I soldiers around a rehabilitation center called St. Dunstan's at Brighton in Sussex, where Ruby's father was the head gardener. One of the last photos of the greatest defender of the monarch butterfly in the history of Mexico. This is the schooner Wyoming, the largest known wooden ship ever built. This book collection describing the decline and fall of the Roman Empire depicts a Roman column slowly crumbling on the spine. There is a movie being filmed less than 2 miles from my house. The letter that Duke coach Mike Grzyzewski sent to Michael Jordan upon hearing then 17-year-old Jordan's decision to play for arch-rival North Carolina. Dear Mike, I'm so sorry to hear that you no longer have an interest in learning more about Duke University. However, I do want you to know that my staff and I wish you the very best in your college career. You are a fine young man and you should make an immediate impact on whatever you choose. Take care and best of luck. Sincerely, Mike Grzyzewski, head basketball coach. I photographed this stunning hotel in the Cotswolds in England. Lomas Rishi Cave in India, carved in 3rd century BC for meditation. Sir Christopher XXI and his ancestor Charlemagne, who was an emperor of the Holy Roman Empire in the 8th century. Rare beach combing find, cornflower blue sea glass gemstone. A rock eroded in the shape of a whale's head. This is Jupiter and Saturn setting behind a mountain on December 2020 during their closest conjunction in modern history. A giant ginkgo tree, Japan photo by Kaji Nori. This dragon statue in Lipetsk region, Russia, that actually breathes fire. The Australian masked lapwing, Vanilla smiles Navihilandii, has sharp wing spurs that it uses as part of its ferocious defense of its nest against anything that comes too close. Each one of these is a single-celled organism, a Acetabularia. This bird peep looks like a bird. This mirror cute tree hotel in Sweden, which blends into the environment. Season 6 episode 22, miniature stunt cars used on Dukes of Hazzard. This hummingbird that visited me today had amazing colors. This is what the ancient city of Midas, 2,600 years old, might have looked like. Over time, some of these tree roots grew in the shape of humans. It's just insane how big the first stage of the Saturn V rocket was. Watermelon tourmaline from Tanzania. One of my favorite experiences and photos I've ever taken, seeing Vulcan Calbuco erupt at sunset. This is Simba. At just 1 month and 4 days of age, this kid goat had 22-inch long ears. This statue depicts Saint Bartholomew, an early Christian martyr who was allegedly skinned alive. If you look closely, that's his dissected skin hanging around him. This statue by Marco di Agrat from 1560 CE is currently on display at Duomo di Milano. Many of you have seen this, but today marks 100 years since the discovery of the first steps to Tutankhamun's tomb by Howard Carter. Pictured. This doors were sealed approximate 1323 BC and the seal was broken in 1924. 9,500-year-old cave art, found in Cueva de las Manos, Argentina. 500-year-old blue gum tree in Tasmania. It stands at 80 meters, 262 foot tall. Not your typical bookmark. Jackal rushes to save pup from eagle. Actresses hanging out with their costers, who are playing the monsters that look couple photos. Rupkund, a glacial lake in the Himalayas, India, is famous for over 300 skeletons found in the lake since 1942. Radiocarbon dating combined with genome-wide analysis of 38 individuals from Rupkund Lake found that the remains are from different eras and belong to 3 distinct groups. This 1,400-pound bull catching 5 to 6 feet of air. Cloud phenomenon called full streak hole spotted over Germany. 100 years ago today, November 4th, 1922, this boy, 12-year-old Hussein Abdel Raoul, leads British archaeologist Howard Carter to the entrance of the tomb of King Tutankhamun, which is subsequently excavated. When Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif said that he likes Indian actress Raveena Tandon. This is what India used during the 1999 Kargil war with Pakistan. From Raveena Tandon to Nawaz Sharif. At Rome Fiumicino, FCO, Airport's Terminal 1, ancient Roman statues are on display. The albino peacock looks like the regular one, soul leaving its body. The Ljubljana Marshes wheel, found in the capital of Slovenia, is considered as the oldest wheel ever discovered, approximately 5,350 years ago. The wheel was found along with its axle. The Kaohsiung Music Center in Taiwan. Snapping turtle caught in the Mississippi Delta. Gullies formed by rainwater erosion span out in a tree-like pattern on either side of this road into bed. 700-ton balancing rock in Colorado. So far, nobody has knocked it over. 1,300-year-old tree, cut down in 1891. Note the historical events correlated with the tree's circles. Space Shuttle Columbia passing over Typhoon Owen. I wanted to clear recently spread misconceptions about the big fin squid. The longest one we've seen had tendrils about 26 feet long. Plus, we've never actually seen a fully grown one, so we have no idea how long they can get. Mad Max style truck I got to witness today. In 2015, Maine passed a legislation removing most of the censorship on vanity license plates to avoid lawsuit. Now, they've brought back the restrictions because the lack of enforcement led to a proliferation of 30 vanity plates. Found a Japanese version of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone today. El Salvador prisoners breaking the tombstones of the notorious MS-13 slain gang members. In a bid to break the hold of escalating gang violence, El Salvador government is now defacing the tombstones of dead gang members, which act as shrine to its current members. In 18th and 19th centuries, people were so scared of being buried alive during cholera outbreaks, which caused severe diarrhea and dehydration, that they made safety coffin with the ability to alert others above ground, notifying that the buried person was still alive by ringing a bell. During the deepest part of a lunar eclipse, stars and nebulae start to become visible. I captured this image during yesterday's eclipse. In the late 1990s, filmmaker Stanley Kubrick received a fan letter from fellow filmmaker Akira Kurosawa. Stanley, wanting to compose the perfect reply, kept writing one draft after another. Weeks passed, then months. But before he was finally able to send his reply letter, Kurosawa died at 88. This white sand I encountered acts like a prism at noon. As the sign states, was put up for a man who a rotisserie chicken for 40 days each. Rotisserie Chicken Man. On November 6, 2022, Alexander Tominsky, Rotisserie Chicken Man completed his goal of eating 40 whole rotisserie chicken man completed his goal of eating 40 whole rotisserie chickens in 40 consecutive days to a crowd of hundreds who came out to this abandoned pier by Walmart in support of him. It was not a party. Ancient Roman Greyhound water fountain. Another shot of Vulcan Calbuco waking up at sunset I was lucky enough to experience. This is how surgeons got consent in the 1920s. I hereby give the surgeon in charge permission to do whatever operation he may find necessary on my friend came back from Ukraine after doing humanitarian work and brought me back a rather interesting souvenir from now liberated Izar, Russian propaganda newspaper handed out to locals during occupation. Asilosaurus, the dinosaur-related species found in Tanzania and named in 2010. Identification charts carried by US Navy and Marine Corps aircrews, Indian Ocean, 1979. And a photo of one of our Russian shadows, one of the ships that would follow the carrier group around. The 1860s paved the way for remote voting in the US, with absentee ballots first used for the military during the American Civil War. In this illustration, Union soldiers line up to vote on November 8, 1864. Vintage medical tools for removing kidney and bladder stones and the stones that they removed. This owl's near perfect tree camouflage. One of the largest collections of First World War US experimental headgear and body armor at the American War Museum in Fairfield, Pennsylvania. Due to the full moon, it looked like a sunset at 5 AM this morning. On November 29, 1961, Ham the chimp became the first chimpanzee to orbit planet Earth. He was placed on NASA's Mercury Atlas V mission and sent skyward. This train in Japan may be the only example of a train to be designed by an architect. These tangled bulbs, magnified 40 times, might look botanical in origin, but they're actually milk-producing structures within human breast tissue. Work by Caleb Dawson. Cold air blowers at the Khalifa International Stadium in Qatar. Over the clouds, views on a mega tall guide TV tower, 610 meters above the ground. Reindeer antler spear thrower from Montastruc. Upper Paleolithic period, Magdalenian culture, circa 15,000 to 13,000 BP. Found in Montastruc, Tarnet-Guerin, Midi-Pyrenees, France. Length 12.4 centimeters, width 6 centimeters, thick 1.5 centimeters. British Museum, London, United Kingdom. This plant's lifesavers candy flowers. Tirupati is a city in the Indian state of Andhra Pradesh. Its Sri Venkateswara temple sits atop one of the 7 peaks of Tirumala Hills, attracting scores of Hindu pilgrims. World's richest, Tirupati temple reveals net worth of $30 billion, 2.5 lakh crore rupees. Richer than Wipro and Nestle, nearly 13 tons gold, 15,000 crores rupees in bank and 960 properties.